Good afternoon, everyone. Kalla here. Welcome to my live stream. Glad you could make it today. So today we'll be playing more of the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles, jumping back into case 3 of the first Great Ace Attorney game. We have the case at hand is the murder of a man on an omnibus late at night in Victorian London. Our accused is an Irish-sounding rich man, but we've just found out that there's a mystery girl that escaped from the scene. So let's find out what's up with that. And hello, Nick. Nice, nice. You know, Nick, if you really love the Ace Attorney series, but boy, do I have an indie game to sell to you. You should look at Nina Aquila Legal Eagle. It's good. My personal seal of approval. I don't know if that means anything. Alright. 18th of February, 12:52 PM, the Old Bailey, Defendant's Antechamber. This is gonna be fun, me trying to remember after like 3 weeks what all my voices were for these people. What on earth just happened in that? Mr. Naruhodo, I've managed to find out what happened. Miss Susato? Oh yeah, there were explosions. There were explosions. That's also what happened. I think explosions or smoke bombs or something. That's what happened last. Okay, sorry. Miss Susato. I was told it was an advanced form of smoke grenade, a type of exploding device that releases smoke. Okay, they were smoke bombs. A smoke grenade? It sounds like the sort of thing ninjas use. They're just making sure everything is safe now. I think the trial will start again before long. But who would have done something like that? The police managed to catch someone who was trying to flee the courtroom, apparently. Flee the courtroom? Why? Well, it's a young girl of around 15, I hear. Ah, is this our mystery girl? A young girl? Then could it be? The other passenger that Mr. McGilded was just talking about? My thoughts exactly. So he wasn't lying. Oh, what's become of Mr. McGilded anyway? Sorry, actually, not anyway. There are so many things I need to ask him about, but he's not here. I think he was summoned to the prosecutor's antechamber to answer questions. Along with the young girl. Who is she, I wonder? And what was she even doing here at the trial? She was taking a huge risk, and for what possible benefit to herself? You know, if she was a young girl of about 15, then I guess that means she wasn't our murder lady from the first case that, got to go home. Because she was older, I think. There's another matter that's troubling me. What's that? The 20 pence. Oh. According to the coachman, Mr. Beppo, he took 4 passengers that night at a fare of 5 pence each. That comes to a total of 20 pence exactly. But now it seems there were in fact 5 passengers. Which means the figures don't seem to add up again. She's right. That is strange. Counsel for the defense, kindly proceed into the courtroom. The trial will recommence in 5 minutes. Oh, thank you, officer. We'll go in straight away. Well, whoever she is, I imagine this young girl will be asked to take the stand and testify now. I really can't imagine what she's going to say, but it could alter the whole direction of the trial. We'll know soon enough, Mrs. Zato. Yes. Yeah, it does seem someone didn't pay their fare, doesn't it? The coachman was already sniffing the paying passengers out of their fare, because it was supposed to be 4p. 18th of February, 1 p.m, the Old Bailey courtroom. So that's the girl. Yep, definitely not a swan-hatted lady from the first trial. There's the young girl next to Mr. McGilded, look. She must have been the one who caused the disturbance before. Well, after that rather eventful recess, the court will now resume the trial of Mr. Magnus McGilded. Now then, Lord Van Zeeks. What was my voice for this vampire dude? My lord? No, that's not right. My lord? That's probably closer. I believe you have established the cause of the smoke which failed proceedings earlier. It seems to have been an advanced form of smoke grenade, of the sort typically employed by the army. Good gracious, the army? What in heaven's name? It was an elaborate attempt by a young girl to cloak her escape from the public gallery, but she was caught. And now occupies the stand. That's still not the right voice for Van Zeeks. Your name, girl? Are you responsible for the smoke grenade which induced such pandemonium here in my courtroom? What is the meaning of this deplorable behaviour? She really doesn't want to talk, does she? I've got to try and get my Irish accent again. If I may, my lord. Yes, Mr. McGilded? I think perhaps I ought to explain here. No, that's not quite right. I think perhaps I ought to explain here why it is that this wee lass was here in the first place, and why she tried to bolt like that. 'Tis all tied up with the events of that night, so it is. Yeah, I guess she does have the right to remain silent. Very well, Mr. McGilded. Give your testimony. You will explain to the court exactly how this young woman is involved in the case. My inner Jacksepticeye. I've never actually watched it. I'm channeling my inner leprechaun, mostly. Just what did happen that night? It's not like a defense lawyer needs that information or anything. Yeah, you know, our clients here should probably have told us what happened before, right? The young girl. On the night in question, I took the back seat in the omnibus and promptly nodded off. Then, begorra, a loud thud and wee scream woke me up with a fair start. There was a fella collapsed on the floor at my feet, so I sat him up in the seat across from me. Then I turned to find out where the scream had come from, and bless my soul, what did I find? There was a child in there, all curled up in a ball, hiding her wee self away. I remain somewhat baffled, I confess, but from what I gather on the night in question, this young girl was indeed riding in the omnibus. Is that correct? Whoops, I went a little bit inside. It is exactly as the defense counsel said. This last was the 5th passenger, my lord. And hiding in that concealable cavity, right? Very well. The defense may now cross-examine the witnesses. Are you ready, counsel? Yes, my lord. Or rather, no. I have no idea where to start. Not like you gave me much. Well, I suppose we do the normal thing. We press every single statement in question.
Hold it!
And when you first got into the omnibus, were there any other passengers already on board? There were not. The cabin was empty and there was no one on the roof deck either. You know, I should really put a disclaimer on these streams that horrible attempts at accents will happen. You were the first passenger, as it were. I see. Aye, and that's why I took the back side as I did. 'Tis the most comfortable, so it is. Just a second. He's lying! He's lying! Because if he says the guy was at his feet and he propped him up in the seat next to him, this is where the blood splatter is, so that's where the dead guy was. Which means the seat next to that is here, and that is... I wouldn't call that the back seat of the omnibus, I would call that the front seat of the omnibus. Hey, I'm not stating that the accents might be a deterrent, so it's more of a please don't be offended if I do a horrible version of your country's accent. Yeah, that's not the back seat. That's the... because the horses hitch here and it's going that way. So I would say this is the back seat. Which makes sense as being the most comfortable, because it's soft, because it's one of the inside seats and not and it's padded, and it's facing in the direction of travel. Therefore, that's... I think he's lying to me. Could you explain exactly what you mean by the back seat? Right? Yeah, that's what I want to know. By all means. This is how you already described it earlier. I'm talking about the seat opposite the one in which the poor gentleman who was stabbed was sitting. Like I said, 'tis the most comfortable and where I feel most at ease. Okay, so he's claiming the guy was stabbed opposite him and then he moved him to the seat next to him. Right. I mean, you can't really tell which side of the omnibus that was, I guess. And of course, I enjoy gazing through the skylight from time to time as well. I see, yeah. Butchering accents is... yeah. I guess. But it's also not like I can do very good English accents either. Like, looking at that 15-year-old girl, I'm expecting to have to figure out how to do a Cockney accent really fast. At least this Irish one is made slightly easier by the fact they're actually writing it out in a way that makes me want to do it that way, I guess.
Hold it!
A loud thud, you say, and a scream. Aye, that's right. How can I explain it? It was like the sound of someone falling to the ground, that sort of noise. So you think it was the sound of Mr. Mason falling to the floor having been stabbed? Well now, you'll remember I was asleep at the time, so I wouldn't like to say. It's not like I can do an Australian accent either. And when the sound woke me and I opened my eyes, there wasn't a soul to be seen in the carriage but the fellow on the floor. You didn't see anyone. But at the same moment, you did hear a scream. Ah, from the seats above you on the roof deck, I presume. Not above me, my lord. 'Twas from inside the cabin. But I wasn't altogether thinking about the scream. No, I was too stunned by the desperate sight before my eyes.
Hold it!
You sat him up? The victim, you mean? That I did, on the seat across from me, as I said. I could plainly see the poor devil was already on. I'm sure he said next to you. I'm sure... Oh no, okay, it says across. I misremembered what he said. Okay, he did say across. Okay, that make... He's not... Okay, I can take away the he was lying to me thing then. I'm sure he said next before. Obviously not. And you wouldn't leave a dead man just lying on the floor now, would you? Well, actually, for the sakes of not disturbing a crime scene, I might. I mean... like, it's... If he's already dead, it's not like trying to put him into the recovery position or anything's going to be good for him. So I feel it would be perfectly okay to just leave the dead man there. If you sit him up, he might flop over. 'Tis common courtesy, so it is. I find that a little hard to believe. Ara, Lord Van Zeeks. Now why would that be? You wake up to find a man lying dead at your feet in a carriage. Any normal person would hail the cabman. Any upstanding member of London society, that is. Well now, as you know, I'm something of a special line of business. The business of lending money at exorbitant rates of interest. Unfortunately, my lord, not everyone is thankful for the help I offer them, and some would even see me dead. So I do try, where it's all possible, to avoid getting myself in a tangle with trouble. Are you suggesting you were just going to leave the man there? Heavens alive, no! I was always intending to report it, so I was. Only, I had a mind to find out the whys and wherefores first. The whys and wherefores? Right you are. There were some details I wanted to understand before anyone else got to meddling. That wee scream I heard, for example. Wouldn't your good self just do the same? Well, I mean, I probably would have gone... No. No. I think stopping the coach would have been a good idea first. Yes. The screaming said he heard at the same time as the thud of the victims collapsing.
Hold it!
I'm afraid I didn't understand. I'm sure you told the court that there was no one else in the carriage except yourself and the victim. So I did, sir, so I did. As far as I could see, that is. What do you mean by that? Well, now, 'tis a queer thing, the wee scream I heard as I woke up. It came from, if you'll excuse the vulgar expression, under me backside. Good gracious! Under your backside? And when I lifted the seats on which I'd been sitting, I found there was a wee cubbyhole there for storage. Mr. Naruhodo, we can examine the omnibus ourselves, remember? Yeah, I know, I found the storage. Yes, of course, the whole bus was submitted as evidence. This would be a very good time to have a thorough look around inside. You know what? Sure, let's have another look inside the omnibus. I'm pretty sure I looked at everything. But let's just double check that the seat he was sitting on is indeed... Yep, that's... Okay, yep, the seat he was sitting on is indeed the one with the cubbyhole underneath. Which has absolutely nothing in it. But probably could fit a young girl. Yes, Naruhodo. Puns. And that's when I found her. So, okay, I think we can conclude, if he's telling the truth, that the girl couldn't have been the killer, because if she was in the cubbyhole underneath his arse, then she couldn't have got out to stab the guy and got back in again, because he was asleep.
Hold it!
You say she was hiding herself? Aye, that's right. It was hard to see in the dim lamplight, but she was all curled up in a wee ball. When our eyes met, well, me heart nearly stopped beating in my chest. You're really overacting this. Still and all, I pulled her out from under there and sat her on the seat opposite so I could... On the seat opposite? Where you just put a dead body? Where you just put a dead body? Sorry, back to actually finishing the line, but... and sat her on the seat opposite so I could have a wee chinwag with her. But seriously, that's where you just put a dead body! The poor girl! The seat opposite? That's right, just next to the dead gentleman there. Yeah, he traumatized a young girl! A young girl who'd already screamed, who was curled up in a ball underneath the seat, hiding. And he pulls her out and sticks her next to a dead body. You sat this young girl next to a corpse, sir? Well, as I'm sure I mentioned, a gentleman in my position can all too often find himself in mortal danger. So, I needed to find out just who this urchin was, you see. And while I was in the middle of talking with her, I heard another scream, a fella's voice this time. Presumably that scream was Mr. First, who was sitting on the roof deck seats. Right you are again, I would say, sir. Looking down through the skylight, you must have seen this young girl and the gentleman with the knife in his belly. In other words, the previous witnesses did not, in fact, see you at all, Mr. McGilded. As I was saying last time, there was no way that if there were only two guys in the interior of the omnibus that they were sitting next to one another. No one voluntarily sits next to a stranger on public transportation. What they believed to be yourself and the victim was in fact this girl and the late Mr. Mason. Aye, my lord. And so they thought that it was him because the figure they saw was small. It was, as I think everyone understands now, sat at the back of the carriage and out of sight. It is certainly plausible. The defendant is somewhat diminutive in stature, and readily confused, perhaps, with this young girl. After that, of course. With the scream from the gentleman over us, the driver realised something was wrong and pulled up the horses. Thank you, I've heard enough. The events as explained are clear in my mind. However, at least one conundrum remains. Who is the girl? Actually, I think two conundrums remain. Who's the girl and who stabbed the man? Her name is Gina Lestrade, my lord. She's a chancer, earns her crust among large crowds, relieving people of their purses. What's commonly called a pickpocket. What? I've kind of lost my judge voice. This girl here, petty thief. Order, order! Is this true, Miss Lestrade? Miss Lestrade, you will answer the question. She fired a smoke bomb at the judge! She fired a smoke bomb at the judge! Ah! How dare you! What is the meaning of this? And why didn't the court bailiffs take her smoke launcher off her after before? Ah! The girl! She's gone! Is this, do I think this is my Irish friend? I guess it's got the open your eyes. Okay, nope, it's her. I'm over here. No, that's not gonna be quite right. I'm over here. I'm over here. I don't have a good... I need a good voice for her. I'm young girl who... I'm not sure exactly what her accent is yet. She might be Irish as well. I'm over here. Good gracious, how? What was the point in that little sidestep? Oh, yep! She's a Cockney, alright. She's a Cockney, alright. How do I do Cockney? I know what you lot are thinking. Grown-ups are all the same. No, that's Irish again. How do you do Cockney again? I know what you lot are thinking. Grown-ups are all the same. That's still not right. This dirty little dipper, you'll say, slipped up and got caught on the job. She got herself backed into a corner and so she knifed the gent. She's definitely Cockney and I can't do it. I can't do Cockney. And I knew as soon as we were in London I was gonna have to, and I really should have figured out during the downtime that how to do that. Go on, that's what's in your heads, ain't it? No, not at all. This is a court of law. We're here to determine the truth, not cast. And she shot me with a smoke bomb too. Right, you know what? Just a second. I will be right back while I go and check how I'm supposed to be voicing her. Okay, after a small bit of research, I am back. I still don't know if I'll be able to actually do it, but at least I have a reference point in my brain now. Look, now it's for cowards. Only thugs use weapons like that. All I need for what I do is these fingers. I'm a professional, alright? Maybe not in your eyes, but I got pride. I'm leaning more into the Irish again. I got pride in what I do. I got pride in what I do. The accent training didn't go great. Let me guess, you don't count smoke guns among weapons for thugs. Oh, this! Yeah, this was in the bag I lifted. This was in the bag I lifted the other day. Down where they keep the four-wheel drags. I'm still sliding into what I'm doing for my gilded. Darn it. It's nice, isn't it? I like the pink best. There we go, in it. But I can do it in it. Ah! Do not wave that thing in my direction again. So, you admit that you were riding the omnibus on the night in question? It's alright, lass. You can tell them the truth now. Alright, yeah. It's just like the Irishman said. Wine in a courtroom. Yeah, he's also smashed a number of glasses. Or crystal goblets. So he's pretty wasteful of this stuff. The court accepts this girl, Miss Gina Lestrade, as a valid and significant witness in this case. Accordingly, young lady, we will now hear your testimony, if you please. You will tell the court exactly what happened in the omnibus on the night in question. Alright, if I have to. What the girl saw. So I snuck inside the carriage before they hooked up the horse. Nope. We gotta go with her. Before they hooked up the horses, like always. But it was alright, all waste of time. I got nothing to show for me troubles I got nothing to show for me troubles that night. I'll tell you can't see a blind thing in that hiding space. It's pitch in there. And then after a while I hear this loud bang. Nearly jumped out my skin at it, and the scream just came out. It's because of that this swell found me. He did help me get away, mind. Yes, he let her go. So he let you go. I fail to understand why you would let this street urchin go, Mr. McGilded. Well, because she's not relevant to it, really. She can't have been the murderer. She's just a kid. Oh, 'tis simplicity itself, my lord. You see, she couldn't possibly have killed the other passenger. I knew that for a fact. How? As I'm sure I said before, sir. I was sitting right on top of the place she was hiding herself. I think a demonstration is called for. This is where I sat that night. And the cubby hole. Sorry, it's changed. I missed the change of character. And the cubby hole of which you have spoken is underneath this seat, I presume. Yes. It does appear just large enough to accommodate someone of the girl's stature. Aye, but of course the wee lass was stuck in there. Because I parked myself on the seat for the duration. Ah! So you see, that's why I let the last bolt. I knew that if the police found her there, they'd automatically assume she'd done it. But I couldn't live with myself if a young life was ruined when all the time I knew she was innocent. Even though you must have realised your action would result in your own innocence being called into question. Not at all, my lord, not at all. I knew in my own heart that I was innocent. So I thought it was worth taking a punt on my old good name. So I thought it was worth taking a punt on my own good name for the sake of this less fortunate lass. My goodness! What a perfect gentleman. My lord! This fine example of a man cannot possibly be guilty of a heinous crime like this. I'm ashamed of myself for ever doubting you, sir. Oh. The scales of justice are tipped. Again. Now it's just the lady with the typewriter. With calm, calculated reasoning, one arrives clearly at the truth every time. Oh, and she's saying not guilty as well. Saints alive! All 6 members of the jury consensual in their leaning of a verdict of not guilty. Fine example of a man, didn't they say he was a loan shark or something like that? Yes! He's a loan shark! He is a loan shark that donated a whole park to the City of London, though. We were on all guilty before, and we had to overturn it ourselves. Maybe the prosecutor now gets a turn to do that. Mr. Naruhodo, this... Well, it must mean... It must mean what? That we're victorious! Somehow I doubt it's going to be that easy. I mean, there's still so many... There's still no real proof that our guy didn't do it. We've won. Are you sure?
Objection!
Yeah, I had a feeling he'd have something to... Whoa! Excuse me, sir! Feet off the furniture! If the sight of my iron-heeled Wellingtons offends, pray do forgive the discourtesy. Iron-heeled Wellingtons? Oh yeah, I mean, in theory, being the defense, we don't actually have to prove who did it. We just have to prove that our guy didn't. But this is Ace Attorney, so we kind of have to prove who did it. This really is a consummate example of the one monumental flaw in British judicial practices, where evidence and reasoning should be paramount. Emotion rules the day. Emotion? The witness's latest statement gives us clear insight into his true nature. What do you mean, his true nature? Do you really think Scotland Yard would have made such a glaring omission? After the incident, the omnibus was comprehensively searched by officers of the police. Obviously, the interior of this cubbyhole, as the witness put it, was included in their investigation. The compartment under the posterior seat was full of the coachman's belongings. It's noted in black and white here in the police report. Good lord. The evidence has been tampered with. In order to corroborate Mr. McGilder's story, someone has unlawfully removed everything from under the seat. What? Order! Order! How could such a devious contrivance possibly have been effected, Counsel? Naturally, we must acknowledge the deficiencies of the constabulary in allowing this to have happened. However, I assure you, when the omnibus was wheeled into the courtroom this morning, the compartment under the seat was not empty. Wait. Wait. You're right! It wasn't empty the last time I looked under that seat! The last time I looked under that seat, it was full of stuff. I think. I'm not confident. I could just go back on my previous stream and go look, but actually I might do. I want to look. Let's have a look. Although I say that, but I don't know at what point in the video it was, and therefore it's going to make it kind of difficult to look it up. Where's the omnibus? That's the thing of the omnibus. There we go, that's... Hi, Kevin. Yeah, when we looked under the seat of that omnibus last stream, there was stuff under there. There isn't stuff under there anymore. Someone literally took the stuff away. I guess during the recess when the smoke bombs went off. I can't believe I just went back over my own video to go double check. Well, my Nipponese friend. Me? When the carriage was submitted as evidence, doubtless you examined it in fine detail, as would any self-respecting practitioner of the law. Pray, what did you find the condition of the underseat compartment to be? Yeah, it was full of stuff. Oh, to be sure, the young gentleman will be able to clear this up in a jiffy. Sorry? Go ahead, you tell the court now, fella. How this is all an elaborate excuse by the desperate Lord Van Zeeks. My defendant seems to be less than honest. Well, Counsel, do you have something to say on this matter? How am I supposed to answer? What can I say about the state of that little compartment under the seat in the omnibus? It wasn't empty, I just went back and looked! If it was empty, that's really good for my client. But no, I'm going to be honest here, because that compartment wasn't empty the last time I looked at it. I really don't know if giving this answer is helping my cause as counsel for the defense. But as far as I remember, at least, when I first examined the compartment, I'm fairly certain there were a number of articles inside it, yes. Are you sure, Counsel? I mean, even when I looked at it before and there was stuff in it, I was like, someone could have hidden in there. She's pretty small. She could hide in there. Arrah, be whist. What are you saying now, you daft door? I thought you were on my side here. I'm on the side of truth, actually. Van Zeeks. No, not Van Zeeks. Mr. Gold. What game are you playing? Your task is to defend the man in the stand. Why would you say something to compromise his position? Because it's the truth. I don't want to build my case on a lie. As the advocate for the defense in this trial, I confess I'm still not entirely sure where I stand. But it seems to me that I should state what facts I do know as clearly and honestly as possible. Interesting. 'Tis not altogether pleasing, fella. I'm simply telling the truth, Mr. McGilded. Well, don't forget that you're supposed to be representing my best interests here, lad. Now then. The truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Right? A fella's memory is a curious thing, and not altogether reliable. No, the court must consider the facts. That there cubbyhole under the seat is as empty as the devil's art, so it is. Do you think perhaps it would be in your best interests now to admit you might have been mistaken? Why do I feel like something's not right here? I should like the jury to weigh in on this matter, I think. That compartment is designed to house equipment used to maintain the smooth running of the carriage. The Guild's rules state that omnibuses should be properly and fully equipped at all times. So it certainly wouldn't have been empty on the night in question. Beppo isn't that irresponsible. That Moneyland and Fleecer and the Pick Purse are lying. I can't believe I was nearly taken in. A stinking rich are always stinkers. Nothing but cowards, the lot of them. What? Oh no! It's a trick, of course it's a trick. Oh no, it's going back the other way! The scales of justice are tipping back the other way! Quite so. I must concur here. With calm, calculated reasoning, one arrives clearly at the truth every time. Kind of weirdly found an entire drawing of firebenders. Yes, but every time a different truth, it seems. Ah, this man's darn flourishes. My lord, I humbly exhibit the scales of justice. Clearly, a verdict of not guilty at this time would be wholly inappropriate. Thank you, counsel. But before we proceed any further, there is the matter of the outstanding cross-examination. Ah yes, I had a cross-examination to do. Counsel for the defence, begin your questioning of the witness, please. Yes, my lord. What just happened? The whole balance of the trial just shifted almost beyond recognition. The Reaper of the Bailey is at work, it would seem. Cross-examination. What the girl saw.
Hold it!
So, you were already in the omnibus before it even set off on its run? Well, yeah, I mean, what's the point of spending a Joey to make a few bob, eh? That's a rum idea, isn't it? I suppose she means there's no point in spending money to make money. It actually makes sense. Counsel, may I remind you that this girl is a petty thief? Kindly refrain from entertaining her tenants. Well, that does clear up the little mystery of the fares and all. 4 paying passengers at 5p apiece, making the 20 to which the cabman testified. And 1 little scapegrace riding for free. The red conch of a driver always goes for some grub before his last run, see? That's when I slip into the carriage and get myself hidden under the seat. Nice and easy, right? But your hiding place is a storage compartment. Full of equipment for the coach, no? Yeah, there's brushes and buckets and whatnot in there, sure. I always chuck all that out and cram it in a corner somewhere. No one ever seems to bother much. And yet, according to the report filed by the police officer who first arrived on the scene, the compartment was full of such paraphernalia. Well, I don't know nothing about that. Like I said, I moved all that stuff so I could hide under the seat. That's all I can tell you. It seems we've reached the end of that line of inquiry. Continue.
Hold it!
A waste of time? Why is that? Well, most nights I'm on my own in the God permit, at least some of the time. I beg your pardon. Did you say God permit? Oh, yeah. Well, that's what my kind call it. You say the omnibus, I suppose. Point is, any normal run, the carriage ain't got no one in it for a while. And that's when you come out of your hiding place and get away? That's it. Only that night. This cove was sat on my seat from the start. And he didn't budge the whole way, did he? Not 1 inch. I was totally stuck. Do you mean to tell us that you were present in the carriage for the duration? You were under the seat the entire time while events unfolded in the enclosed cabin? Yeah. Right, mister? To be sure, to be sure. I was as shocked as anyone. You don't expect to lift the cushion you've been sat on and find a child now, do you? So this Miss Lestrade couldn't possibly be the culprit then.
Hold it!
So you couldn't see out into the cabin at all? Not a shot. Most days I push the cushion up with my head and have a look and look out the crack. Then I can have a butcher's who I'm gonna fiddle. I thought you were a pickpocket, not a butcher. Have a butcher's means to have a look. I mean, I can have a look. The seat I get under ain't as plush as the other one, see? Yeah, I guess it would make sense that the seat above the compartment is less comfy. Mr. McGilded said it was the more comfortable one. So most of the time the passengers plant themselves opposite. But for some reason that night, this here Irishman spent the whole journey right over my head. And for that reason you weren't able to push the cushion up to peek out. I see. The truth is, I ain't too happy in small dark places. Feels too much like being thrown in the clink. It's the only place to hide in them carriages, so it's the Obson's choice. So it's Obson's choice. Why doesn't she just stick to picking people's pockets in the open then? I'd say there's some reason that she's not letting on, judging from her demeanour. So anyways, I was a bit scared, but I had to stick it out under there, nothing else for it.
Hold it!
When you say a loud bang, do you mean the noise of someone falling to the floor? Could have been, I suppose. I don't remember so well. Point is, it made me jump. And you let out to scream involuntarily? That's right. And then I felt the cushion over my head get lighter. I felt the cushion over my head get lighter all of a sudden. Presumably when the defendant got up in order to help the victim, yes. Or not. It could equally have been the moment the accused stood in order to stab his victim, could it not? Well then, what was the thump? Well, girl, did you see what happened at that crucial moment? Yeah, I saw it. I pushed up on the cushion and had a quick butcher's while I had the chance, didn't I? The Irishman was sitting up the bloke what had fallen on the floor in the seat opposite. That matches Mr. McGilded's account, of course. But then, the fella suddenly turns around and looks right at me. I sunk back down again, but it was too late by then. I should never have risked looking. Man, words are hard when you're also trying to do an accent that you can't do. I apologise so much for the horrendous attempt at a Cockney accent that seems to be disappearing every so often. And sliding into Irish every so often.
Hold it!
And when Mr. McGilded discovered you, he pulled you out from your hiding place? I was scared stiff, I was. He dragged me out and set me down on the seat and all. Next to the victim, Mr. Mason. Yeah, the bloke had a knife in his guts. He was still bleeding. Then the carriage lurched a bit and he ended up falling onto me. Oh no! Oh no! Man, McGilded, you really did traumatize a small girl. That's what I said about not propping a dead body up, because it's just gonna fall over. Oh, how awful! Both my hands got covered in blood. Made me feel sick as a dog. Both her hands covered in blood. That must be what the rooftop passengers saw. Poor lass indeed. After that, I believe you talked with Mr. McGilded for a while. Is that correct? He asked me some stuff. Wanted to know what my name and what I was up to and that. Then I heard something from up above. Someone screamed. Yes, Mr. First on the roof deck, one would presume. Well, I didn't want no one seeing my face, so I didn't look up. Then the horses was drawn up smartish, and this here Irishman says to me, "Get back under your seat. I'll see that you can get away later." Actually, that shouldn't have been later. That should have been later. All 6 members of the jury had decided the defendant was innocent. For one brief shining moment, yes. It's clear that they're all still very unsure. If we could just find some conclusive piece of evidence among this new testimony, I'm sure we would clinch the verdict we want. Yes, I think you're right. And I have this niggling feeling. Something's bothering me, but I just can't quite put my finger on it.
Hold it!
Oh wait, that's the one we already did. That's the one we already did. We already did that one. Just gotta skip my way through here. I forgot that we were back at the beginning. Right, so we need something to present at something. Right, what have we got? We've got my armband. That's not going to be of much use. The autopsy report said the dude was stabbed. I don't think there's anything extra we can find out from this. Nope. Crime scene photograph. Dude with a knife in his belly. Not really much we can do with that. The defendant's leather gloves. One of them has blood on it. Allegedly, this is from when he sat the man back up again. The entire omnibus, we've established that where they were sitting sounds plausible. The murder weapon, which is all fancy-like. It's got an M on it, or a W. The debtor's ledger, which contains the name of one of the jury. Inside here. Not a lot we can do with this. I think what we need to do is do the look around thing. So let's press the things again. And watch through Mr. McGilded's reactions, or her reactions. We're looking for a reaction we can pick on. As I didn't notice while I went through before, but maybe that's because I was focusing on reading. We're watching for any kind of movement at all from the person who isn't speaking. There we go! We have one! Assume.
Excuse me.
Excuse me. Is something wrong, Mr. McGilded? Oh, I do apologise. Was there something the matter, Counsel? I'm just wondering if Miss Lestrange's last comment made something occur to you, perhaps. You seem to be thinking something to yourself. Oh, no. 'Twas nothing important. I was feeling bad for the poor lass is all. I remember feeling desperate myself as a young lad shut up in the dark. 'Twas terrifying, so it was. I see. Yes, I'm sure we can all sympathise. I'm still scared of the dark now. Aye, and I don't know about yourself, but I find that the darkness seems to make everything you hear seem that much louder as well. Yeah. I suppose it does, maybe. Miss Lestrade? Did you hear something that night? Anything? An unusual noise, perhaps? Nah, not really. All I could hear was the Irishman snoring. Big Jabez, sorry, that's too... But Jabez, there's no need to tell the whole world the befoibles, you little scamp. What a pity. If only Miss Lestrade had heard something, it might have given us a vital new clue. Yes. What should we make of that last statement of hers? It's profoundly important, because things always are. My lord, I believe the statement just made by the witness is profoundly important. Profoundly important? But all she said was that she heard nothing. Yes, which is the profoundly important point. I'm almost sure of it. Let me add her statement to the testimony, so I can press it. I'm almost sure that I don't understand the inner workings of your Eastern mind, Counsel. Nevertheless, Miss Gina Lestrade, you will supplement your formal testimony by repeating that last statement, please. What? Supplement? What are you on about? Don't give me all your fancy talk. I know what you're trying to do. Well, it won't work on me. No. Well, it won't work on me. That's right, insult the judge. Always a good move. I was straining my ears to work out what was going on, but all I could hear was snoring.
Hold it!
So you were straining to hear what was happening the entire time, since the moment you hid yourself? Not exactly, no. Sorry? Well, there was no one in the cabbage. In the cabbage? Well, there was no one in the cabin to start with. I could just push the cushion up and have a butt just to see what was what. But then when I saw the swell getting on, I got my head down so he didn't notice me. And Mr. McGill had sat on the seat under which you were hiding, correct? Yeah. Would you add in a minute? Would you add in a... No. Yeah, would you add in a minute, eh? What a mug. So then all I could do was listen. I was waiting to jump out of there as soon as I heard him leave, you see. But would he? Not likely. Even though we stopped here and there, I never heard the door open. So I just had to stay put and listen to him driving his big stomach, snoring like an old dog he was. Are there any conclusions we can draw from that, I wonder? It makes sense or it doesn't add up. Does it add up? No. Because if the first thing if she was straining to figure out when he'd leave and the first thing she heard was the body falling to the floor, like either someone else had to come in to stab the guy, or Mr. McGill had to get up, which would mean he would stop snoring. I mean, unless the victim stabbed himself in the stomach, which I guess is always an option. I'm with it doesn't add up. Miss Lestrade, what you just told the court is clearly at odds with the facts. At odds? Are you sure, man? Absolutely. It seems my learned Nipponese friend is not as dull-witted as I feared. So Van Seeks realised it too. Counsel, I must insist that you bolster your claim with evidence, or some complicit party's name at the very least. Yes, my lord. I expect you to demonstrate this alleged contradiction to the court. According to Miss Lestrade, while she was hiding in the omnibus that night, she heard nothing but the sound of Mr. McGilded snoring, but think, Krynoski, think. There's something else she should have heard. Show a piece of evidence, show a person, or forget it. So, our evidence... dude getting stabbed. There's the omnibus itself. What she should have heard was the other passengers getting on up at the top. She definitely should have heard that. Because I imagine people climbing up here and getting up there must have made a lot of noise. Plus, I think one of those guys said he, like, knocked at the window a few times, and McGilded, like, told him to go away. Oh, that's a point. That's a point. She should have heard the victim get on. She should have heard the victim get on. Or this guy who's on the roof, or this guy who's on the roof. But the victim, she should definitely have heard the victim get on. Very well, my lord. Allow me to elaborate. On a particular sound that Miss Lestrade could not have failed to hear on the night in question. A sound very clearly explained by the presence of the following person. This guy!
Take that!
Thrice fired Mason. Yes, my lord. The sound that Miss Lestrade cannot have failed to hear is that of the victim, Mr. Mason, boarding the omnibus. Order, order! Explain your reasoning, counsel. Miss Lestrade, allow me to confirm something. You claimed earlier that you were the first person on board the omnibus, is that correct? Yeah, of course I was. I got on while the driver was in the pub, didn't I? And the next person to board the omnibus was Mr. McGilded. That it was. Sorry, that it was. Not... I've lost my accent again. That it was. Not a soul in the cabin when I climbed aboard. At least not in plain sight. So you were, to all intents and purposes, alone in the enclosed cabin of the omnibus at that time. Did I not just say as much? I wasn't travelling with anyone else, if that's what you mean. Yeah, I saw him get on, remember? Through the crack under the seat cushion. He was on his own for sure. And from what we've heard, the carriage made a number of stops after that on its onward journey. During which time, did you not hear the door opening or closing at all? Nah, I never heard it. Sorry, nah, I never heard it. That's exactly what I was listening for, weren't it? Waiting for the swell to leave. In which case, when and how did the victim end up in the carriage? Ah! We know that the victim collapsed inside the enclosed cabin of the omnibus. Therefore, Miss Lestrade's statements about what she did, or did not hear, is at odds with the facts. Ah! Yes, this petty thief's statement was clearly flawed. Lord Van Zeeks. Yes. He knew all too well that there was an inconsistency in Miss Lestrade's statement. It would seem words of thanks are in order for my learned friend. What are you talking about? You have demonstrated matters impeccably. This witness and her colourful statements are entirely unreliable. Her words are convenient untruths, nothing more. He's dead right. How could the victim possibly not have boarded the omnibus? That makes no sense whatsoever, and this girl is a pickpocket. Let's not forget that. No, don't hit the guilty verdict, Grandma! Ah, she didn't even say anything. I didn't want to judge the poor little mite just because she had some rather naughty ways. But I must say, I can't abide liars. And neither can I. Mr. Foreman! I didn't want to judge the girl just because she has some less than salubrious ways. But I must say, I cannot abide liars. And now it's just the maid! Please don't make a decision so easily mismade. Ah. Mr. Naruhodo, that's 5 drawing members leaning towards guilty. Well, your consideration for others is refreshing, my Nipponese friend. To the considerable troubles you have spared me. Still still don't think you should be drinking wine in the middle of court, Fanzeeks. Yes, very refreshing. Ah. Yeah! What are you playing at? Have you forgotten who you're working for, you useless Indian Amaran? Indian? Why do I say Indian? You useless Eastern Amaran! This is carnage, it's perfect. Just a second. Just a second. Okay, the knife doesn't look quite as much like the knife that was in the guy's body, but still, it's similar. And juror number 2 is the only one left. Mr. Naruhodo, the way this is going. Fanzeeks would have been disbarred for his antics. Right? Putting his feet up on the bench, drinking wine in court, throwing crystal goblets across the room. I know, if we can't find some new way to convince everyone of Mr. McGilder's innocence, the judge will rule and we'll have lost. I very much wanted to believe the words of one of London's most respected gentlemen, but those of us in service know we must accept hard truths.
Hold it!
Yes, the witness's last statement seems to have revealed a critical inconsistency in her story. However, if we consider the possibility that her statement is in fact the truth, it may shed an entirely new light on the whole case. Yeah, like the thump could have been like not him falling off his seat. The thump could have been someone chucking his dead body into the omnibus. He could have been killed outside of the omnibus and just sort of thrown in. What are you saying? Counsel! I'm sorry, sir? Whatever do you mean? Counsel, I will not tolerate you attempting to prorogue my adjudication. Explain yourself at once. When the accused boarded the omnibus on the night in question, the victim was nowhere to be seen. Subsequently, the carriage door was not heard opening a single time, as testified by the witness in the stand. And yet the victim's body was found inside the carriage. If this petty thief's words are to be believed, how do you explain the victim's miraculous appearance inside the cabin of the omnibus? There's only one way to explain how the victim came to be inside the carriage. He was in there already, which we're not going with because we're trying to prove he wasn't. There's another entrance, or he was put there after he died. I think I like he was put there after he died. Let's just double check the omnibus. Let's just double check it. So there's... That can't be a door, it doesn't... Kinda looks like the door on the other side. So we've got this door here. Actually, no, that's not a door because it doesn't have any hinges. That's not an entrance. I can't really see underneath it. The skylight... Can the skylight be opened? Kind of looks like it's got a catch there. Like here. Do we think someone from the top of the omnibus could have dropped a dead body down through there? Because that would have been a serious thump that would shock people or wake people up. Other than that, okay. So I think I want to go with there's another entrance, or is that he was put there after he died? Also, it's getting kind of dull in here, and I'm going to go turn on the light. Well, I think about this. So... you know, if our Irishman is innocent, and if our pickpocket friend is to be believed, then somehow the dead body ended up inside the omnibus without boarding it. Which means someone stabbed him and then chucked him in there. But she says she didn't hear the door. And even if the windows do open on that omnibus, no one would have them open that night because it was freezing cold. I don't even know if the windows open anyway. So... it seems like the only way to get that dead body in there is to drop it through the skylight. So does that fit under there was another entrance, or he was put in there after he died? Because it's both of those options. I'm gonna go with there's another entrance. If the door wasn't opened even once, the only explanation is that the victim entered the enclosed cabin some other way.
Objection!
I wondered what new fantasy you would come up with in your blind panic. But behold, the omnibus is here for all to see. Only one side of the enclosed cabin is furnished with a door, the other only has windows. Fixed windows which cannot possibly open. In short, there is no entrance to the cabin other than the door.
Objection!
This seems to be option 2 seems to have been the right option. Since we haven't been immediately docked a point for it. I went with there must be another entrance because it would let me point. That would mean I could point to where the other entrance is, right? But there could be. There's one possibility you haven't considered. Oh, really? Yes, one other way inside that isn't the door. Another opening, the use of which allowed the victim to appear inside the enclosed cabin. All right, counsel. The defense will identify the location for the court. Yep, this is what I wanted it to give me. Here is the omnibus on which the incident occurred. Where on earth is this entrance by which he proposed the victim entered the cabin? It is here, right there.
Take that!
The answer is obvious. It can only have been the skylight. I say, the skylight? Which, you know, puts our two people on the roof in a bit of a bind, right? Your ludicrous proposal almost has me lost for words. However,
Objection!
the skylight may well have been large enough for someone to pass through.
Objection!
So you claim? But have you a shred of evidence to support your addle-brained theory? Well, the fact that they only heard a thump. Both Mr. McGilded and Miss Lestrade said the same in their testimonies. They each claimed to have heard a loud thud, such as the noise made by someone falling to the floor. Yes, which has already been explained, as the sound of the victim falling from his seat, having been assaulted with the dagger. Yes, it has, but would a man slipping from the seat onto the floor really have made such a loud noise as the witnesses describe? Yeah, because if he just sort of slumped to the floor, it might not have been loud enough to wake someone up, right? A noise loud enough to cause Miss Lestrade to let out an involuntary cry, in fact? Good gracious! Perhaps, in fact, that was the moment that the victim made his entrance into the cabin. No, let me rephrase that. The victim didn't enter the cabin as such. He fell into it.
Objection!
You're now suggesting that the victim fell from the skylight into the cabin? That's simply impossible! How can you be so sure? Because if the victim had fallen inside through the skylight, as you say, the passengers on the roof deck would have seen it happen. And yet, not one person made mention of such events in their testimony. Well, yes, that's true, but... Might a humble fella make a wee comment here? Mr. McGilded? To be sure now, the two fellas who were sat on the roof that testified afore said nothing of the victim falling through the skylight. But it seems to me, my lord, that 'tis not so much a case of them not saying, but... Aye. 'Tis a case of them being unable to say. What? I think perhaps the two fellas do be having something of a compelling reason not to mention what happened. Would yous not agree, fine ladies and gentlemen of the jury? Oh my goodness, surely not. Those two chaps on the roof? You mean the ones who stuck that knife in the man were... What were my voices for these two? I don't remember. Just what exactly are you... No, that's the... This guy's not Cockney, I don't think. Just what exactly are you insinuating here, you blitherer? You rot... He said you rotter! What are you insinuating? This is a flaming outrage. I had a good mind to give you a blinker in a minute. He'll give you a shiner in a minute, he said, and so will I. Mr. Fairplay? You've effectively accusing me, a city gentleman and a well-respected banker, and me, a very angry hatter, suggesting that someone like me could have stabbed that man in the guts. It's a disgrace. It's scandalous. It's... I protest. I protest in the strongest possible terms. That's right, I protest too. About you, you rotten scoundrel. Fair play and his lackey. Yeah. Order! 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 This is not the time, witnesses. I will not permit this wanton invasion of the stand. Return to the anteroom at once. But this is beyond reason, my lord. It's outrageous. It's very hurtful, you know. My lord, if I may comment. Go ahead, Lord Van Zeeks. It was the defense that incited this outburst from the witnesses. My learned friend has seen fit to abandon all protocol and accuse the witnesses without proof. Accuse? I never intended to. I mean, I did not, by name at all, accuse those on the roof of stabbing a man and shoving him down a skylight. It seems, young Nipponese, that your command of the English tongue is wanting. You propose to this court that the victim fell through the skylight from the roof deck of the omnibus. That hypothesis cannot possibly stand without the rooftop passengers being aware of the events. You have branded these gentlemen liars. You have intimated their criminal guilt. In our British courts of law, that is what is termed a baseless accusation. I don't know, he could have been pushed through the skylight before they went up there. Maybe. No, probably not. The timeline doesn't fit. I know I was rushed to put this idea forward without any actual evidence, but you can't just dismiss it without a second thought. What are we wasting time for? Get them to testify. I thought there was something fishy about that hat from the moment I laid eyes on the fella. We have to see this matter through now, one way or another. If there's filth and rubbish in our midst, we must dispose of it at once. Testify. What's happening, Mr. Naruhodo? The spectators in the public gallery they're in a complete frenzy. Mr. Fairplay and Mr. First. My lord? You will take the stand again and make another formal testimony in reference to the indictment brought by the defense. Yes, my lord. I didn't come here for this. There's no time to think this through. All I can do is keep pushing forward. Alright, 4-person bench, let's go. Not bench, stand. 4-person stand, let's go. Refuting the accusation. We were the only 2 people up on that roof deck, dead or alive, I can swear to that. If anything had happened where we were sitting, don't you think one or other of us would have noticed? In any case, neither of us know the first thing about the victim. We had no reason to kill the man. Actually, Mr. Fairplay, didn't we establish that you owed the defendant a bunch of money, and that the victim owed the defendant a bunch of money, and maybe you stabbed the victim and shoved him into the carriage where the defendant was so that you could get the defendant sent to jail and get off from your loan. Pressing forward indeed, yeah. The skylight was shut the whole entire time, I tell you. We couldn't possibly have opened it. If you're so sure the victim fell through the skylight, where's your proof? I mean, I don't have any proof. I would say that on listening to this testimony, it is somewhat hard to imagine how either witness could have performed any malevolent act on this open rooftop deck without the other noticing forthwith. That's right, you see. We're innocent, I tell you. Although logically, of course, the argument falls down if the 2 of you were in collusion with one another. What? Eh? According to investigations by Scotland Yard, the 2 witnesses share no common dealings. Well, I don't trust coppers any more than I trust stinking rich. Something doesn't feel right here. The trial is going in our favour, really. So why do I feel so uneasy? Counsel for the defence, over to you. Your cross-examination, please. Oh, yes, my lord. Refuting the accusation. Right, okay. Press all the things time.
Hold it!
So, at no time did the victim, Mr. Mason, climb up to join you on the roof deck? Absolutely not, Dickon. No question about it, he said. None at all. Oh, but yes, of course. I remember seeing them both. I saw the victim inside the enclosed cabin talking with this man here. Is this true, Mr. McGilded? Dear me. My lord, at risk of repeating myself, I boarded the omnibus alone and nodded off inside almost immediately. That's an outright lie. Without a doubt, you were engaged in... Let me stop you there, fellow, and ask, do you have any evidence at all? At all? So, do you have any evidence at all at all? It is all about evidence in the courts these days, so it is. You'd do well to remember that. I saw you with my own eyes. This is going so well.
Hold it!
Well, it was the final run of the omnibus at past 10 o'clock in the evening. It would certainly have been quite dark, perhaps too dark to see clearly? Is this some kind of a lark? Is this some kind of a joke, he said? Is this what it is? Or perhaps one or other of you fell asleep briefly? Ah, you fair dinkum, sir! Are you serious, sir? That's what he said. It's impossible, I tell you. I'd give you the keys to the vault if you could fall asleep in that bitter cold. And if you did manage it, your eyelids would freeze shut and you'd never open them again. That's extreme. It was extreme, I tell you, and we had to put up with it because this man had locked the door. Any true gent would have unlocked it and let me in when I knocked. That's a good point, because he said he knocked. Surely the girl should have heard that. I'm dreadfully sorry about that, young fella. But you see, I was away with the fairies and I didn't hear you at all. That's a lie. I saw you through the glass. You were talking to someone. Now, it was a cold night, so it was. People do be seeing things that aren't real in the cold. It's hardly surprising. Seeing things. I believe we've reached an impasse here on this particular point. Ah, you! Don't take it personally now, lad. If I'm a suspect in this case, then it is only fair that you and the other fiend are too. Open and free competition is what a capitalist society is all about. This isn't a competition I should like to be involved with, really.
Hold it!
So, you'd never met Mr. Thrice-Fired Mason before? Oh, lummy no! Not once, never! He'd never met the man before, he said. Never! And you, Mr. First, had no prior dealings with the victim either? That's right, sir. Hatters don't have much to do with brickmakers, to be perfectly honest, sir. No, I imagine not. You see, how many different ways can I put this? Neither of us have the remotest connection to the gentlemen who were inside the cabin. Yeah, because you do have a connection. I'm just gonna go through with finishing the pressing, and then I'm gonna come back to this one. Mostly because I want to see what all the pressing stuff is before I go and deal with this guy. That's right, this is about motive, and we have none. No motive, And, well, that's not all, is it?
Hold it!
I want to see all the text before I move on to the obvious thing. Yeah. Are you quite sure about that? That the skylight was shut the entire time? I'm going to lose my block with you in a minute! He's going to lose his rag with you in a minute, that's what he said. Take a look for yourself, go on! You see, it's shut fast now, just like it was on the night. So it is. Of course, a fellow the size of Mr. Mason could likely break right through it, still and all. What? Just looking at the size of the thing, you understand. Now you hold on there a minute, sir. The size of the thing means nothing. Not on its own. Let's consider the bigger picture here, shall we? Let's stop biting our cane, shall we? I was riding the omnibus on another occasion when, well, I broke wind loudly. I shocked myself with it as it happened. This is an unexpected confession, Mr. First. Oh, I just mean to say, well, the point is, I tried to open the skylight, you see. But, just my luck, I couldn't make it budge. The stench was terrible. Everyone was looking daggers at me, sir. I went as red as a rogue, I did. Ah, you expecting me to sentence you? Oh, no, sir. The point is, the skylight can't be opened. I tried and tried when I was inside that cabin of shame.
That ain't...
Oh, we got another one. We got another thing to chase up on. The skylight doesn't open, you say? So that proves it. I mean, maybe it doesn't open from the inside, maybe it opens from the outside. We could have kicked the victim down. We couldn't have kicked the victim down into the cabin below, I tell you, neither of us could. I'm not sure anyone said that you kicked him. Nobody mentioned anything about kicking anyone. Like I said, these details are little nuggets at best. It's the motherlode we should be looking for. And the last press before I go back and deal with the, proof. That's right, I demand to hear it. We came here to say what we saw, I tell you, not for this. But you call us both shikas, brand us as criminals. You call us liars. That's what he means. You accuse us of doing it. As it stands at the moment, there's no hard evidence that incriminates yourselves now, is there? I believe we're in much the same position as one another here. Ah! If I don't crack his case soon, he'll crack his teeth. I wonder if these two men really were involved in some way. I couldn't say. I mean, I don't really know anything about them, do I? Although by the same token, I don't really know anything about Mr. McGilded either. It's so hard to know what to believe here. I think we should try to remember that it's evidence alone. We should try to remember that it's evidence alone that we can truly determine the outcome of a trial. Evidence. No one can argue against decisive evidence, including the members of the jury. So you're saying that what we need now is to find a conclusive piece of evidence? Yes, Mr. Naruhodo, precisely. Excuse me? Okay. The one we had a thing on was... this one, yes. Neither of us knew a first thing about the victim. Right, now let's work our way... There we go!
Oh, no.
Alright. Pursue, let's go. Mr. McGilded? Yes, Counsel, what can I be doing you for? Did the witness's last statement give you pause for thought somehow? Not the remotest connection. Is that right now, I wonder? What are you insinuating now? Ah, Mr. Fairplay, 'tis been too long, so it has. Eh? If I'm not very much mistaken, I believe 'tis fast approaching, is it not, your repayment date? I beg your pardon. You borrowed 20 guineas from me, sir. That's an unconscionable rate of interest. You tricked me. It's extortion. I mean, I'm still wondering why a banker decided to go to a loan shark to get a loan. Well now, is that a touch of begrudgery, is it? The sort of begrudgery that might motivate a fella to pass his crimes off on another? Ah! And young Mr. First. Me, sir? What do you want with me, sir? You do be making hats for a living, do you not? That there top hat sliding out on your head, is that one of your own creations, is it? Oh, well, I'm just an apprentice, you understand. I'm learning to find the perfect fit for whatever fine gent walks through the door. The perfect fit, is it? Well, 'tis a very distinctive design, so it is. Many customers like it, I tell you. They like a distinctive touch. Customers, such as Thrice-Fired Mason. Wait a second. Does Thrice-Fired Mason have a weird top hat too? Yeah, he does, doesn't he? He has a kind of weird stitched together hat. Ah. There was a photographic print of the victim submitted as evidence before, my lord. This you mean. I can't help thinking that poor fella's hat looks distinctly familiar, wouldn't you say? Oh! That's one of my hats. Aye, that is. So it would seem that the brickmaker was a customer of yours. The sort of customer I'd wager that you could have had a wee quarrel with over the distinctiveness of the goods. Oh no, sir, absolutely not, sir. Well, there's really nothing more to add. It wouldn't be right to say that the two fellas here haven't the remotest connection to the victim, you see. I rest me case. You little weasel! Ah. He's better at this than I am. Gosh, Mr. McGilded has certainly been thorough in his research, hasn't he? I mean, he was preparing to defend himself, wasn't he? Please, don't let my little interruption hold up the proceedings. Ooh, I got an achievement, haven't I? This is the one that the little lady had an opinion on. through the passing story.
Wait, that ain't...
Excuse me.
Do you have something to say about that, Miss Lestrade? Miss Lestrade. It opens. The skylight. That's what we're talking about, right? All them skylights open dead easy. More easily than you can load that weapon. That's a lie, I tell you. Otherwise, when I broke wind, I... Can't do it from inside, you mug. Oh. Look, a few weeks ago, I was up on the roof deck of one of them drags. And I had a great haul. I mean, I had purses coming out my ears. Miss Lestrade, this is not the forum to be eulogizing on the subject of your criminal activities. Well, anyway, I had a bit of a scare. When I lifted the last bloke's purse, he got wise to me. All four of them surrounded me, so I couldn't hop off the bus and leg it. So what I did was, I used the skylight, opened the catch and jumped right through. What? Yeah, the catch for them skylights is on the top side. That's why you can't open them from the cabin. The skylight opens from the roof deck? Bailiff! Climb up onto the roof of that omnibus at once and verify this witness's claims. I mean, I said that looked like a catch. I said it looked like a catch. I was right. I was right. Oh, it slides. Oh, my hat. See? Order, order, order! So it appears that the street girl's statement is quite true. I don't believe it. The skylight opens and from the roof deck. Mr. Naruhodo! This could be the clue we've been looking for! Well, counsel for the defense, please continue with your cross-examination. Yes, my lord. So, the skylight opens. Perhaps I should investigate for myself. Alright. Let's go doing an investigation then. Little investigation of the skylight? So the skylight was fastened shut before, but now the catch has been undone, we should be able to open it. You can certainly see inside the carriage through this opening, that's for sure. Yes, and there's a lamp in the enclosed cabin. So I'm sure that witnesses would have been able to see quite... Oh, we've had this before. I can't just jump down there. Okay, let's go back inside the omnibus. Well, let's open the door and go inside, shall we? Yeah, and yeah, this is a part that I'd read out before. There's a lot of blood in here. On the floor. Was the blood on the floor before? Evidence! Evidence! Yes, it does open very wide, doesn't it? Wide enough to kick someone like you through, certainly, Mr. Naruhodo. Why someone like me? Ah! What is it? Look, just here, look at this! That's... Without question. It's blood. Why would there be a bloodstain there? Surely, it can't be unrelated to the case, can it? The details of the omnibus have been updated in the court record. Omnibus, the scene of the crime. There is a bloodstain visible on the frame of the skylight when it's open. Did I ever look at... I must have looked at this giant amount of blood down here as well as the blood up, but we're gonna... Let's see. Okay. I don't think I read through this one. Just a second. So we're gonna read this one out because I'm not sure if I did it. That's blood, isn't it? Is something wrong? Oh, it's just, well, this bloodstain is so obvious, that's all. And yet Van Ziek's made no mention of it. I suppose it does seem a little strange. Why do I have such a bad feeling about this? Anyway, we got fair play in first, don't we? If you're so sure the victim fell through the skylight, where's your proof? Right here.
Objection!
On the night in question, the victim was fatally stabbed in the stomach. And immediately afterward, the victim's body was pushed through the skylight into the cabin below. Those are the facts, and the irrefutable proof remains clearly visible in the omnibus that stands before us today in this very courtroom. What? That's utter humbug! Ah, you can't possibly have any evidence! No, you can't! I mean, we didn't do it, I tell you! It's impossible! Irrefutable proof? Here in this courtroom? Counsel. My lord? I believe everyone would appreciate a little clarification here, Where exactly within the omnibus is the evidence to which you allude? You will point out what it is that proves the victim fell from the roof deck through the skylight. The fact that there is blood up there. Doo-da, doo-da. The fact that there is blood out there kind of makes it obvious.
Got it!
By Jupiter! Is that blood? Ah! This bloodstain proves two things. Firstly, when the incident occurred, the skylight of the omnibus was open. What? And secondly, the victim was already bleeding when he fell through the opening. Oh my! And so it follows that Mr. McGilded, who was inside the enclosed cabin himself at the time, cannot possibly be guilty of this crime. No! Order, order, order!
Hold it!
But the blood could have sprayed up there when the fellow was stabbed inside the cabin. Actually, Mr. Fairplay, you'll find that since the victim was stabbed in the stomach, blood doesn't spurt that far if you stab someone in the stomach. Now, maybe if you'd stabbed him in an artery, maybe it might have had the chance to do that. But in the stomach? In the stomach, I doubt it. And only found its way onto that one particular spot on the skylight. Sure, and that would have been very convenient. Ah. And let's keep in mind that the skylight catch can only be unfastened from the roof deck. I myself wouldn't have been able to open it now, would I? is there? If the gent really fell through the skylight, I mean. Why don't you have a good look at the floor of the cabin between the two seats, Mr. First? Yeah, the blood that's down there. It is all too plain, if you see. There's the aftermath that shows the poor fellow dropped from a fair height right there. It's dropped from a fair height. No, dropped from a fair height right there. So it is. What? No. But it can't be. It's all lies.
Hold it!
My fellow jury members, I think we can all agree that this is clear proof of the defendant's innocence, can't we? I believe we can, yes, sir. It's clear to me now where the filthy rubbish can be found in this courtroom. So they thought they could just pull the wool over my eyes, did they? I won't tolerate any of the guild's carriages being sullied with blood. I won't tolerate it. Oh, I always knew the nice gentleman who gave us that delightful part couldn't have done such a thing. On three then, everyone. 1, 2, 3.
Objection!
Chilling performance, Mr. McGilded. Oh, and what would you be referring to there now, Lord Van Zeeks? A bloodstain on the frame of the skylight. Such evidence is null and void. What? Why? Oh. Just a second. Just a second. I'm going back to my own video again. Just a second. Because I find it difficult to believe that I wouldn't have... Yeah! That bloodstain wasn't there earlier! That bloodstain wasn't there earlier! Along with the removal of the stuff in the cubbyhole, someone added some blood. I mean, that blood does look rather fresh for, compared to the other blood in the cabin, doesn't it? What is this case? What is this case? That smear of blood never existed.
Objection!
What are you talking about? It's there for all to see and it's clearly blood.
Objection!
I personally attended Scotland Yard's investigation of the omnibus. The officers involved went over the carriage with a fine-tooth comb. So I can state with absolute surety, no such smear of blood existed in the cabin. Sorry, in the carriage. At least not until this trial began. And not when this trial originally began, as far as I can tell from looking at it again. Actually, did I take a full look at the omnibus's floor? I find it hard to believe I wouldn't have looked at it. But I'm not going to go over every second of the previous stream to go find out. Just from casually scrolling through, it doesn't look like it. But... are you saying, Lord Van Zeeks, that this stain of blood was... fabricated, my lord? And while this court has been in session. Sorry, yes, and while this court has been in session. What? A lot of stuff got switched up while the courtroom was full of smoke, huh? What a palaver. I must say I didn't expect such crude reasoning from a prosecutor of your standing, Lord Van Zeeks. But I'm Magnus McGilded, a fellow known all over the capital for his fine contributions to public life. I don't take kindly to slander, and I'll fight it to the bitter end. Even if it's rolling off the tongue of the Reaper of the Bailey. Mr. McGilded, I realise this is your first appearance in court as the accused. However, I am well aware of your involvement behind the scenes in a great many affairs of dubious nature. You're very adept when it comes to avoiding getting your own hands dirty. And each time it happens that a case you're involved in is investigated, you adapt the facts. Adapt the facts? What does that even mean? When you wield a fortune the size of Mr. McGilded's, however ill-gotten it may be, nothing is impossible. Tampering with evidence, manipulating the scene of a crime, bribing witnesses. I toast your ability to concoct the most convenient of stories, sir. Tut tut, Lord Van Zeeks, this will not do, to be sure. Will it now, Counsel? What am I supposed to do? My defendant is fabricating evidence. How am I supposed to believe anything? Oh, no. I think it's fair to say this does all sound like a rather far-fetched excuse by a desperate man. The blood on the skylight didn't exist, you say? But if you will cast your minds back, is it not true that the omnibus has been there in the courtroom the entire time? How could anyone possibly have put a smear of blood in it without the world and his wife seeing? If you had a casual friend with a smoke grenade launcher. Isn't that right now, Counsel? It's true. The omnibus has been in full view the entire time the court has been in session. My learned friend. Here's to hearing your opinion on this matter. In your own words. As you wish. Could someone have tampered with the omnibus during the trial? If you're asking me, I think it could have been possible. I'm sorry, Mr. McGilded, but I'm here in pursuit of the truth. I mean, I know that technically my job is to get you off the hook, but me personally, I'm here for the truth. The whole truth, and nothing but the truth. As a defense lawyer, it's my job to advocate for the defendant the best I can. But still, I feel as though there's something even more important at stake here. There is no evidence to suggest that the defendant did as my learned friend suggests. However, in terms of having the opportunity to carry out alleged tampering, there is one possibility. Oh! Good gracious. Explain yourself, Counsel. Yes, there is. It seems my learned Nipponese friend has no intention of running from this deceit. Deceit? I'm sure everyone still remembers clearly. The recess that we were forced to take? As a result of the smoke grenade fired by the witness currently in the stand, Miss Gina Lestrade. What is going on? Be careful, Mr. Naruhodo. Cover your face. Bailiff, don't let the accused escape. Secure the omnibus. I hereby call her an emergency recess. Bailiff, ensure the defendant is in custody and clear the courtroom. The courtroom was filled with smoke and everyone was thrown into confusion. All of us were made to leave this chamber. In that brief interval, under the veil of smoke and in all the chaos, it could have been possible to steal inside the omnibus. And take all the stuff out and add some blood. But I mean, that's a lot of work. Are you wise? What are you trying to pull, ye rotten feckless gouger? Feckless gouger? You're supposed to be defending me. 'Tis a wicked plot. 'Tis a plot to undermine me, so it is.
Objection!
Whatever you think this is, it changes nothing. The facts are the same. After this courtroom was evacuated earlier as a result of the smoke grenade, a number of inconsistencies materialized in relation to the omnibus. Inconsistencies such as... To start with, the storage compartment under the rear passenger seat. When the police investigated the omnibus, this compartment was full of the driver's items. Secondly, we have the smear of blood on the edge of the skylight. As I have said, this was not present at the start of the trial this morning. Unfortunately, Lord Van Zeeks, no one is able to corroborate your claims. Yeah, maybe Scotland Yard should have taken some photos. To prove the current condition of the omnibus as they found it. You know, more crime scene photos. When the omnibus was first wheeled out, both the storage compartment and the skylight were shut. Accordingly, I'm afraid to say we cannot establish with any certainty if this evidence is the result of tampering or not. Indeed, my lord. No doubt there was not a single person who saw fit to verify such things. What do you think? Sorry? About the omnibus. Is there anything else unusual about the omnibus? Is there anything else unusual? I'm gonna go with I have an inkling, because... Fake it till you make it? My lord. Yes, counsel? There is one further inconsistency. A mark that surely could not have been present at the start of the trial. What? What in the devil's name are you gonna say now? If you dare to betray me, you little maggot, you better start watching your back.
Objection!
My defendant is a rather horrible small man, isn't he? Silence, Mr. McGilded. The court awaits the defence's clarification. This trial keeps swinging one way and then the other. I have no idea what's the truth and what's deception. What am I supposed to believe here? I shall have to ask you to elaborate, counsel. Where exactly is this alleged mark you claim to have appeared at some point during the trial? I mean, it's the bloodstain on the floor, right? Because... I mean, it's the only other mark in here. And I was pretty thorough when I was looking around before. Because I'm pretty thorough. Because I don't want to miss anything. And you'd think that a giant stain of blood, which incidentally looks rather fresher than this one, I don't think I would have missed that, and I don't remember that being there. So it's going to be this one.
Got it!
If we consider that the victim fell through the skylights onto the floor of the cabin, you would certainly expect to find signs of blood where he landed. But as far as I recall, this bloodstain on the cabin floor was not there when the omnibus was first brought into the courtroom. Good Lord. Yes, I do believe you're correct, Counsel. No, it's not my glasses. Someone put it there after I looked at it the first time. Well said. Although, as advocate for the defence, one might say that that was a very careless slip of the tongue. I believe that bloodstain on the floor is a decisive piece of evidence. But if the question is whether that evidence is genuine, or whether it was unlawfully fabricated by someone, I feel compelled to admit that there's at least a possibility that the evidence is fake. Ah! This trial is over. Mr. McGilbert? I've done everything I possibly can to cooperate with the court, but it is all over now. But you're the defendant. It is over, I tell ye. Memory, recollection, what people think they saw, it is all a nonsense. Facts are what counts, and the fact is that bloodstain is there, now. Well... And over the course of this desperate trial, long and extremely drawn out as it has been, that good-for-nothing Reaper of the Bailey has failed to present any decisive evidence at all. I'm scandalised, so I am. I thought better of Lord Van Zeeks. Well, my lord? Man, he's... McGilbert's doing the thing that the real murderers in Ace Attorney tend to do when they've been backed into a corner, right? I must concur with the defendant. The unaffirmed recollections of an individual cannot stand as evidence. Mr. Judge, I have evidence to submit that stain wasn't there before. It's a several-hour-long live stream in which I looked at the whole thing. I have a video. And in the absence of any credible method by which to prove its alleged previous non-existence, I regret to say it would be improper for this trial to continue. Your lordship can't be serious. Lord Van Zeeks, what is your position? The prosecution, my lord, has no further witnesses or evidence to present. Very well. In that case, I believe we have explored every possible avenue in this matter. I shall proceed to my adjudication. As a formality, I am of course obliged to confirm with the defence first. What formality? As things stand at the moment, it would seem that Mr. McGilbert will be found not guilty. Even though he's actually clearly guilty. Yes. Which would mean we've won. Is that really the right outcome here? Is it really alright for the trial to come to an end now, with all these unexplained inconsistencies? Counsel for the defense, your closing statement, please. Yes, my lord. The defense believes... Oh! Oh no! Oh no! Did Mr. McGilded ever actually tell us he was innocent? Did he tell us that when we asked him? Did we even get the chance to ask him? I mean, as we know, the job of the defendant is to believe... Sorry, the job of the defense is to believe in the innocence of their client to the end, right? But also, in my personal opinion, Mr. McGilded is incredibly sus. He's very, very sus. Like, this first one here, that's what I should be doing. That's definitely what I should be doing. But personally, myself, it kind of feels like he could be guilty. But also, that's not my job. That's the prosecution's job. I want to save. I want to save. I want to save. I don't know. This case has been entirely topsy-turvy. So we have an autopsy report that says he got stabbed, died due to internal hemorrhaging. The photograph shows him sat on the seat, slumped against the window. The defendant's gloves have blood on one hand. That blood is in the space between the index finger and the thumb, which would be about where you'd hold the knife. Blood could have got into his hand. If he'd stabbed the guy, blood could have got into his hand quite easily. But like, I'm not entirely sure why a loan shark would stab a guy that owed him money. The omnibus has a suspiciously fresh-looking bloodstain on the skylight and the floor. The one on the floor I'm pretty sure wasn't there before. That's not the only thing that's different to how it was at the beginning of the case. Someone was tampering with evidence in the middle of the trial, and I don't like it. In order to prove my worthiness to take the place of my friend and be the abroad study candidate, the Chief Justice has told me that I need to get a not guilty verdict in this case of Magnus McGilded, who seems incredibly sus to me. Baron von Zieks has had a poor game of it this time. Thrice-fired Mason, who's dead. Beppo, who's the driver. Bruce Fairplay and Lady First. like, they seem a little bit suspicious as well. Gina Lestrade, I'm pretty sure she didn't murder anyone, but she could be a setup. Like, a witness basically prepared by McGilded to agree with the things he says. And she did set up the smokescreen, which allowed someone to mess with the evidence. If we say he's innocent and he gets let off now, we have a... I would be so mad at those little hanging... little avenues we didn't go down, things we haven't found out. It would feel very open-ended. But it's also what we're supposed to be doing. I don't know how to answer this, I really don't. All these other ones where I've been asked to do a thing, I've focused on my intent to know the truth. To display the truth. And when it comes down to it, there's nothing really letting him off the hook. No, the defendant could be guilty. I'm here in this courtroom today to advocate for the defense of my client, Mr. McGilded. However, at this moment in time, I cannot in all good conscience attest fully to the defendant's innocence. What are you saying, man? Without any question, there's no conclusive evidence to prove that the defendant is guilty. However, there's also no conclusive evidence to prove that he's innocent. Good gracious me! Order! This is unprecedented behavior, counsel. A defense lawyer calling the accused's innocence into question? Are you of sound mind? Oh, 'twas a grand decision to appoint you as my lawyer, so it was. A grand decision. What? I must say I didn't expect quite an exciting spectacle at the end there, but still. Here, have this for your troubles. Your job here is done, fella. And some fine work you've done, so you have. Why is he so happy with me? Why is he so happy with me now? What do you mean? 'Tis just as the right honourable gentleman so succinctly put it afore. The trial can't go on anymore. And your closing statement there was, how do you put it now, nothing more than a formality. I really don't know what to make of all this. Was the evidence we seen genuine, or was it fake? His lordship would be fuming. Any unsightly rubbish should be disposed of promptly, as I said. Stinking rich are always guilty of something, you mark my words. I feel terribly ashamed that I ever doubted that lovely man who gave us the lovely park. Now that proceedings have unfolded in this way, I am compelled to declare a premature end to this trial. Furthermore, the court must accept the defendant's plea. I thank you kindly, my lord. I hereby pronounce the verdict of this court.
Objection!
But we still haven't determined if the bloodstain in the omnibus is genuine or not. We don't know if these witnesses are telling the truth or a pack of lies. We have no idea about the truth. Lord Van Zeeks. My lord, the case made by the prosecution was flawed, plain and simple. If indeed the omnibus presented as evidence was tampered with, the prosecution is at fault for allowing such disgraceful perversion of justice to take place. My sincerest apologies, my lord.
Objection!
But wait! When we were evacuated from the courtroom, Lord Van Zeeks ordered the evidence to be secured. I am afraid the prosecution cannot shun responsibility in this matter. That's so unfair. The culpability of the defendant has not at the present time been established by the court. Consequently, the jury will not be required to proffer judgment. What? Well, Lord Van Zeeks, it's been a pleasure, so it has. And as for you, my dear fella, I couldn't have asked for a better defense. Do you mean to tell me this has all been a grand waste of time? 'Tis the law of the land, my good man. If you'd like to pursue this matter further, you can always go ahead and try to change the law. Magnus McGilded. Good grief, you've more to say to me, have you? Just one thing. A warning. This is far from over. Well, something to be looking forward to then. Ha 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 ha! Yeah, aiming for a mistrial sounds like it, right? But it kind of sounds like he's going to be pronounced not guilty rather than a mistrial. I hereby pronounce the defendant, Mr. Magnus McGilded, not guilty. I don't feel good about that verdict. I don't feel good about that verdict at all. Like, it's a win for me, but I don't feel good about it. I can't believe it. This is an outrage. They should have examined the evidence more. What are you talking about? The man's been cleared. He's innocent. With the courtroom in pandemonium for the second time that day, the judge delivered his verdict. And my first ever trial in Great Britain came to an abrupt end. With the defendant being found not guilty, ostensibly a victory for us. February 18th, 5:14 p.m. The Old Bailey, Defendant's Antechamber. That certainly was a long trial. Yes, it was. Your first ever trial on foreign soil and your first victory. It was a wonderful performance. My heartfelt congratulations. And to you, Mr. Zato. Thank you for your assistance. I suppose we should be happy. The trouble is, we're still completely in the dark about what actually happened. Well, I mean, I guess that's closer to real life, isn't it? A lot of the time you're not going to know what really happened. Well, we didn't have enough time. But isn't it wrong? I mean, who was actually responsible for Mr. Mason's death? We don't even know that. I mean, also that isn't your job, Naruhodo, but hey. The sole aim of the defense is to obtain a verdict that exonerates the defendant. You carried out your duty to perfection. Aye, that you did. Mr. McGill did. Ah, and that girl is with him too. Well, it seems that the stories are true. Oh, what stories? About the 6 enormous fireworks they do be letting off when there's a verdict of not guilty. I'm sure you must have seen them now. Spectacular, wouldn't you say? Yes, definitely. I heard it was a sight to behold, and to be sure it was. And I've you to thank, I suppose, for having the opportunity to see it. Oh, I don't know about that. I'm not sure I really did anything. What on earth are you saying, fella? How'd I walk out there a free man, then? I don't think it was so much thanks to me as down to your planning. You're a straight-talking fella, aren't you? I must say you had me astray in the head there once or twice. But you're a young and headstrong. Ah, 'tis water under the bridge. Congratulations, Mr. McGilded, on having your name cleared. But nothing's resolved. There's only one thing that matters to me. Oh? Aye. They've all seen that I didn't do that odious and they've all seen that I didn't do that odious and abstinent deed. 'Tis grand, is it not? I suppose it is. Now the fine fellows of Scotland Yard can take matters into hand and sort out any weird details. They'll see it for what it is. They'll get to the truth. I've absolute faith in them, so I have. After all, I do be providing a good number of their wages with all the taxes I pay. I mean, hey, at least that's one good thing about this ridiculously rich fellow. At least he pays his taxes. Ha 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 ha! It's not that funny. So then, as we agreed beforehand, 1,000 gold guineas for your troubles, fella. Oh, no, I couldn't possibly accept that much. Ah, be wished, ye humble people, ye from the east. Well, if you insist. But have this, still and all. You deserve a reward. Mr. Magnus McGilded. Everything is ready, sir. If you'd like to follow me into the courtroom. Into the courtroom? What's this, officer? 'Tis sooner than I was led to believe. I hope it's not inconvenient, sir. There were some changes to the schedule. Well, I must be making tracks now. 'Tis time for the inspection. Sorry, what inspection? They're going to examine the omnibus again, so I'm told. I asked if I could be present for it myself. They're going to examine it again? Now? Naturally, I'm under no obligation to take part in any more of this matter now. But as an upstanding member of London society, I do be doing my best to help where I can. 'Tis a gentleman's duty, so it is. You are an incredibly suspicious man, Magnus McGilded. So then, fare thee well. 'Twas an absolute pleasure meeting yous. I hope you have a whale of a time while studying here in Great Britain. Wait, how did he know about that? How did he know about that? And there he goes, a free man. Oh, I Forgot she was here too. Oh, looks like she's going to be making her escape. Don't move. Whereas I want to say, get a move on. She really does take forever to load that thing. Miss Lestrade, would you mind putting that thing down? You're a grown-up. Sorry? And I hate all grown-ups. Ah, there you are. Oh no, wrong voice. Ah, there you are. Naughty, naughty, running off like that. Is this some kind of picnic? Who's this little girl now? And taking that with you as well. I was looking forward to the trial run of my experimental smoke grenade launcher. How did you want to play? You won't beat me. Excuse me, but who are you? Oh, good day to you. I'm, well, the inventor, I suppose, of that machine. The inventor. Well, normal smoke grenades are so dull, don't you agree? Well, white, and more white. Yeah, she's definitely an inventor. If you have to be shrouded in smoke, it could at least be a pretty colour, I thought to myself. Do we have to be shrouded in smoke, though, at all? I just took my eyes off it for a moment while I was changing into a different omnibus and she pinched it. Luckily, I fitted it with a telegraphic beacon. What's it, what? I have no idea what this girl is talking about. Anyway, you're coming with me now, back to my laboratory. What? What for? To apologise, of course, silly. To my technician. What? You mean, say sorry? You must say sorry when you've done something wrong. Surely an adult has told you that before. An adult? I don't listen to no adults. Come along then, follow me. Yeah, the cat has a GPS. Clever inventor putting GPS in her inventions. Fine, have it your way. Oh good, you see, I knew you'd want to do the right thing in the end. I'm fairly sure that what she wants is to not get shot by that massive gun of yours. Oh, what a lovely curtsy there. Well, I'll be leaving now then. Bye-bye. I'm so sorry for all the fuss. She was a lively one. Ah, good. Gina's gone now. I don't have to try and do a messed up Cockney accent anymore. Until they give me another Cockney, which seems likely. This is London after all. Well, do you think we should perhaps be on our? Do you think perhaps we ought to be on our way now too? Yes, you're right, but where to? Oh, we haven't had time to find a place to stay. No sooner had we arrived in London than we had to rush here. All our travelling cases are still with the bailiff. I was originally planning to spend today in search of lodgings, but at this late hour in the day, I'm afraid we may be out of luck. Don't worry though, I have a plan. If the worst comes to the worst, I've heard of a lovely park where we could spend the night. Please tell me you're not thinking of McGilded Park. I know it may be a little chilly at this time of year, but our youthfulness will see us through. I'm not so sure about that. I think a midwinter London night will freeze a young person solid as easily as an elderly one. Well, it's London, so next to Cockney and Irish, you wouldn't be surprised if I had to do a Scottish accent as well. Well, you know, the accent I probably should have put on for at least one of the people in that courtroom is... You'd expect at least one of them to be Queen's English, right? all posh and like this, you know? I'm not very good at Queen's English either, I'm afraid. Perhaps I really ought to do some practice in the meantime on the various accents one might expect to find in Victorian London. Oh dear, that doesn't sound agreeable. Yes, Oxford English. Oh, look at her eyes! She's tearing up. Now I'm starting to regret turning Mr. McGilder down. That 1,000 guineas would have paid for a lovely warm room, or mansion. Scouse! I should be better at Scouse. I lived there for 3 years. The problem is that the main thing I remember about Scouse is it involves swearing about every 3 words. And so, the trial to determine my worthiness for the study tour was over by the end of our first day in London. However, as we were soon to learn, there were more trying times ahead. Just as the Reaper of the Bailey had warned, the case was far from over.
What's going on? Get the fire brigade! Water! Bring water!
Why is the omnibus on fire?
How did this happen? I don't know, sir. By the time I got here, it was already engulfed. No one was supposed to be allowed in here before we started investigating.
There's someone inside that omnibus!
No. Oh, good God. There's someone in there. This can't be.
Oh. Trying to imagine a Welsh Callagher. Well, what sorts of Welsh though? Because I'm pretty sure there's different accents in different parts of Wales as well. Save my current progress. Yes. I would like to save it to the next one down because I want to go back and see what happens if I say he's innocent. The Adventure of the Clouded Cooker. Okay, I want to go back just a second. Return to the title screen. I'm not going to start that 4th chapter today. I am going to end. Right, I want to load on this one. And I want to see what happens if I say he's innocent. I want to see if that changes anything. As Mr. McGilder's legal representative, I can't breathe. The air in here is stifling. But I'm this man's defense lawyer. There's only one thing I can say in this situation. I believe the defendant, Magnus McGilder, to be innocent of the allegations brought against him. Thank you, counsel. Here's to you, my Nipponiese friend, and the most abject closing I've yet to hear in a court of law. Order, order! Oh, it was a grand decision to appoint you as my lawyer. That's the same text. You saved one of London's most influential gentlemen, fella. You should be proud of yourself. Here, have this for your troubles. Okay, that was slightly different. The trial can't go on anymore and it's a formality. Yeah. I think it's just changing a tiny bit of the text. I don't think it's going to be going to make things any more different, really. Yeah. It doesn't seem to change very much. I just wanted to have a look if it did or not. I don't want to save. I'm just gonna check something quickly before we're done into special contents. And into the accolades. Right, these are for the episodes. These are for the episodes. That's all the extra ones. For playing the game in all available outfits. We've got to do that at some point. Dug around to find every argument about shovels and spades. Every argument about ladders and step ladders. Iris's blackboard, that's not a thing we've seen yet. That's episode. I missed a thing in episode 2. I missed examining the bed. I'll have to do that again at some point. But yeah, the specific thing for episode 3 was identifying the milliner responsible for the victim's hat. So, okay, there wasn't a separate thing for believing in my client more or anything. Yeah, it is nice that both options are reasonable. I'm not going back to episode 2 right now. Alright. Having completed episode 3 and successfully proved Mr. McGilded's innocence. And here's to hopefully not having to put on an Irish accent again. Because I fear I may have gone a little over the top on it. Here I will end today's stream. Thank you for joining me today. It's been fun. If you're new here and you've enjoyed your time, consider subscribing to the channel or follow me on Twitter, which is where I post the schedule for the week's streams in a pinned tweet. This was the last stream for this week, so there will be a new schedule either later tonight or tomorrow morning. The next stream will be tomorrow at 7 PM. I haven't completely decided what it's going to be yet. Do you really want me to say that in an Irish accent, Nick? Because I can do it. Top of the morning to ya. There you go. I'm pretty sure I said that at some point last stream. I feel like that came up. Yeah, you're gonna have. I mean, Kevin, it shouldn't affect you that much because it just means that my streams are at the same time for you as they used to be before my time went back last week. Right. So anyway, with that all said, thank you once again for coming. It's been fun, and this is Kalla signing off. See ya! Bye bye!